There is a price that most people have to pay, but few realize it's the price of procrastination. This is a truth almost no one dares to face. Most people are not running out of money. They are running out of opportunities. Every time you say later, you lose one of the few rare chances that could change your life. It's like you have a wallet full of opportunities, but you keep pulling them out without ever checking how many are left. You keep spending time and spending chances, thinking there's always more inside. Then one day you open that wallet and it's empty. The worst part is you can't even remember when you used up your opportunities. That is how life works. Not because of one big mistake. Not because one wrong choice destroyed you. It all comes from the small things. The times you said tomorrow, the lazy mornings, the forgotten weeks, the years you lost, thinking you still had plenty of time. And let me tell you, that is the most expensive mistake in life. Because money can be earned back. Careers can be rebuilt. Even relationships can sometimes be repaired. But time and opportunity cannot. Once they're gone, the game changes forever. Now, let's break this down. Chapter 1, The Trap of Delay. If I could tattoo one warning on the forehead of every young person, it would be this: later is the biggest lie you've ever believed. Think about how many times you've said it. I'll start working out later. I'll save money later. I'll quit the job I hate later. I'll chase that dream later. But later is an invisible thief. You don't feel it taking from you. You don't see the price, but every day, silently, it adds to your bill. I once knew a man who worked in an office for 40 years. He was exhausted. He always talked about the dream of opening a small diner with his wife. He often told people, when I retire, I'll finally start living. He retired at 60. By then, he was worn out, and his wife had fallen ill. The flame of passion they once had was gone. That dream stayed in a notebook, never opened again. He spent 4 decades preparing for a life that never arrived. That's the trap of later. It makes us feel safe. It feels logical. But later is quicksand. The more you lean on it, the deeper you sink. And the scariest thing is the later never warns you. You won't wake up one morning to a sign saying, your opportunities are running out. It happens quietly, like sand slipping through your fingers. Until one day, there's nothing left to hold on to. No one has ever said, I regret starting too early. No one has ever said, I wish I hadn't tried. Almost every regret in life comes from waiting too long. Later is an expensive price, because it charges you in regret. And regret is the heaviest debt a human being can carry. Chapter 2, Comfort, the Silent Assassin. Now let's talk about the second costly mistake. A mistake almost everyone makes: comfort. It sounds like a reward, doesn't it? A warm bed, a stable job, a few simple pleasures. It feels pleasant, well-deserved. But in reality, it's poison disguised as joy. Look at history. Empires didn't fall because they ran out of enemies. They fell because they lost discipline. The Roman Empire wasn't defeated by invaders. It collapsed because its people grew weak. They wanted bread and entertainment. Instead of challenge and responsibility, they traded ambition for amusement. And when the fighting spirit died, even a light push was enough to make everything collapse. We're living in the same pattern today. More conveniences than any generation before us. Excess food, endless entertainment, technology that makes life easier than ever. And yet look around. Depression rates are higher than ever. Anxiety is higher than ever. Why? Because humans weren't born to live only in comfort. We were born to face challenges. Comfort steals from you in silence. It doesn't take from you today, it takes from your future. It steals ambition, willpower, even courage. You think you're safe because life is easy. But really, you're just stuck. Let's compare it simply. Hardship is like lifting weights. It hurts in the moment, but it builds your strength. Meanwhile, comfort. The easy life is like sugar. It feels good, but if you consume too much, it slowly destroys you from the inside. And here's the paradox. Pain actually costs less than comfort. Because difficulty gives you strength, skills, and wisdom. But comfort charges interest. It makes you feel relieved now. But the debt piles up quietly. You'll pay for it later with regret, with wasted years, with a life that never reached its true potential. Comfort is the silent assassin of greatness. It doesn't stab you, it whispers you to sleep. And if you let it, it will steal every opportunity you ever had to live a remarkable life. Chapter 4, The Myth Called Safety. If I could erase one word from the human vocabulary, it would be safety. We are raised, like farm animals, taught to chase it. Schools drill it into our heads. Parents reinforce it. Society rewards it. Study hard, get a stable job. Save for retirement. Buy a house, live safely, don't take risks. They call it a secure life. But here's the truth, safety doesn't exist. Ask the man who stayed loyal to a company for 30 years, only to be laid off with just enough severance to pay his mortgage. Ask the families in 2008 who followed every financial rule and still watched their life savings disappear overnight. Ask the taxi drivers who thought they had a stable job until Uber arrived. What we call safety is actually just a chain. It keeps you standing still until the world changes the rules of the game. And then you realize the cage you thought was protecting you was actually just holding you back. During the Great Depression, millions believed their money was safe in the bank. Then 1930 arrived, and mass withdrawals began, wiping away entire life savings in just days. Farmers lost their land, families lost their homes. Everything they thought was safe vanished like smoke. Meanwhile, the few who understood the nature of risk, those who dared to buy cheap land, build businesses while others were running away, emerged from the crisis 10 times wealthier. They didn't cling to safety, they pursued freedom. Because safety is the most expensive trap. It makes you trade freedom for a cage. Only freedom is truly safe. And freedom only comes to those who dare be brave. That cage may make you feel secure, but every day you spend inside it, you are paying the highest price of your life. Chapter 4, The Circle of Power. You're not as independent as you think. Your environment is shaping your future more than your willpower ever could. A person with $1 million but surrounded by $10 mindsets will shrink down to match them. A wolf raised in a cage eventually becomes a house dog. A warrior living among cowards will soon forget how to throw a punch. Look at history. Napoleon built an empire before the age of 40 because he surrounded himself with strategists, men hungry to conquer and redefine the world. Meanwhile, countless princes born in luxury died forgotten simply because they were surrounded by flatterers and weak men. Your circle is either multiplying your value many times over or draining it. There is no neutral person. This channel is not for everyone. Not for those who listen just for fun, but for the few who truly understand. For those who have decided that normal is not an option, because the crowd will always try to pull you down. They will mock your ambition. They will roll their eyes at your plans, not because you're wrong, but because your growth exposes their stagnation. Inside that circle, you cannot win. What feels familiar often feels safe, but that is the real prison. Want to be healthy? Stay close to those who train. Want to be wealthy? Stay close to wealth builders. Want to think bigger? Stay close to creators, not complainers. The circle you choose is the silent architect of your life. Choose wrong, and you'll pay with decades of wasted time. Choose right, and in just 5 years, you'll become a completely different person. Chapter 5, The Invisible Tax Called Regret. Regret is the tax you pay for wasted potential. And unlike money, this tax is never refunded. Skip exercise for 10 years. The bill will arrive as sickness and exhaustion. Ignore your passion for 20 years. The bill comes when you wake up at 50. Look around and wonder why you feel empty. Even after paying every bill. Staying in a toxic relationship just because it feels safe. The bill arrives when you realize you wasted the best years of your life, living small just to please others. Life never forgets, it keeps every bill. And when payment day comes, the blow is devastating. An old man once told me, if I could trade all the money I ever made, just to have one more year of youth, I would trade it instantly. But life doesn't work that way. You pay the price when you don't live fully. You pay the price when you keep waiting. His words engrave themselves in my mind, because regret doesn't come from what you did wrong, but from what you never dared to do. Here's the paradox. Risk seems expensive, but regret costs even more. Failure hurts for a while, but regret haunts you for life. Failure is like a broken bone. It hurts, but eventually heals and becomes stronger. Regret, on the other hand, slowly eats away, silently and permanently. You don't realize it until the entire structure collapses, and by then it's too late. That's why the most expensive mistake in life isn't losing money, nor losing people, but wasting the one thing you can never get back: time, the chances and opportunities to truly live instead of merely exist. Chapter 6, The Forgotten Greats. History remembers those who dared, and forgets those who only played it safe. Nikola Tesla was a genius ahead of his time, but died alone and in poverty. Vincent van Gogh painted over 2,000 works, yet sold only one during his lifetime. The world calls them geniuses, only when they were no longer here to see it. How many people have lived and died like that? Talented but too cautious, too content, too afraid of rejection until history erased them. Now compare them to Alexander the Great. At the age of 30, he had conquered nearly the entire known world. Or Steve Jobs was fired from the very company he founded, but returned and changed the world twice. Or Muhammad Ali, who was stripped of his title and banned from boxing, but he never bowed his head and came back as a legend. The only difference was action, not waiting. They refused to live small. 4. The world does not reward potential. It only rewards action. People don't remember you for what you could have done, but for what you actually did. Chapter 7. The Final Awakening. Right now, you are racing against time. Every second that passes will never return. Every hour you waste is an hour gone forever. And the danger is that you don't feel time slipping away. It is silent, invisible, but never stops. You think you still have decades, plenty of chances. The truth is, you have no idea how much time is left. And that is exactly why waiting is the most expensive mistake in life. Most people live as if they were immortal, always planning for a someday that never comes. They believe in later, in comfort, in safety until life demands payment. And by then it's too late to negotiate. And here's the scariest part. The future version of you is watching you right now. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, that version will either thank you or resent you. Every decision you make today is either building or destroying the future self you will become. So ask yourself, are you making choices your future self will be grateful for, or preparing them for a life full of regret? Money can be lost and earned again. Love can be lost and found again. Almost everything can be rebuilt, except the time you've wasted. Each day is $1 million invoice. Every decision you make is an investment. Most people throw it away like spare change. But you are here, listening to something the world out there is not brave enough to hear. You have separated yourself from the crowd. You have said, I want more than this. So remember, the most expensive mistake in life isn't failure. It's never daring to begin. The world out there will keep living in a dream. But we are awake. We build, improve, train, and grow. And that is the difference between the crowd and the awakened.